In the last 24 hours, the Nationals have walked away from the coalition in a move that John Howard just last night described as stupid. The Nationals leader, David Littleproud, joins me. He's live from Canberra. David, thanks so much for your time. There's a lot to get through in terms of, how you formed this decision. But ultimately, does it come down to this, that you believe the Liberals need you more than you need them?
Well, it comes down to there needs to be mutual respect of the policies that are dear to us that will change the lives of the people we represent, that we took to the last election, that were popular in terms of being able to deliver, basic things for people in regional Australia, that we would give them protection about the use of a mobile phone, that they're not left in a dangerous situation on the side of a road. It's about building childcare centres to be able to send their kids to a centre to be able to go back to work. It's about training some doctors and nurses that we don't have from our own. Now, I'm not going to walk away from that. Those are principles that would change the lives of the people I represent. Now, it might be foreign to many commentators and to those that aren't here, but that's why I was sent here. I mean, really? Do I come here and sell out the people that sent me here because of political expedience? No. I want to work constructively with the Liberal Party to be in coalition. And we need each other, but ultimately we can only get things done if they understand the seriousness of what these policies would do for regional Australia. This isn't anything other than a principled decision about us standing up for the people who sent us here. And if we don't do that, we won't be here. It's a simple game of arithmetic, as John Howard has always said. But to get that arithmetic in your column, you actually have to stand for something. And you have to protect and serve the people who put you here. And that's what my party room decided yesterday was the best way to do.
David, Susan Lee represents a regional constituency, so she understands more than most. She didn't say no to you. She didn't ask you to sell out on your principles. She just asked for time. And you couldn't give that to her?
No, I think you're not representing what was put to our party room. There was no guarantee that Susan could give because, as Peter Credlin said last night, that the convention is that all coalition policies stay until they're struck out.
I agree with that. I agree with what Peter said last night. There is that convention. There is that convention, David. But when's the last time you saw a loss like this?
Yeah, so I respect that convention, but I respect the fact that Susan wanted to, and in her right, to go back to her party room on all policies. But those that we took, we weren't asking for new policies. We were asking for those to be protected. And when I could not get a guarantee that I asked her to be able to articulate, I put to my party room to be able to make sure I didn't misrepresent anything in terms of what she could or could not guarantee. We got to the decision that there was no guarantee that we could secure those. So what are we to do? What are we to do? I respect that the Liberal Party want to go through a process of their own, but the National Party should not have to walk away from what would change the lives of the people we represent.
Yeah.
Why would I walk away? Why would a political party walk away from saving people's lives and making people's lives in the places that we represent better?
So you think Susan Lee was really abandoning that principle? I mean, you asked her to commit to nuclear. Why would she do that? It's less than 3 weeks since that election loss. Why couldn't you afford her the time to review? How could you ask her to recommit to a policy that obviously contributed to their demise? And I would say it's not entirely clear, even in national seats, that nuclear is all that popular. Yes, with the base, but I mean, you didn't win those booths around Lithgow, for example, David.
So let me go back. It's not just about nuclear. It's three other policy areas as well, around the universal service obligation, around the Regional Australia Future Fund. It was also around supermarket divestiture. Those were along with a technology agnostic approach to nuclear being part of the mix. That are the four areas, not just one. And so I get the Liberal Party want to go through a different process. I respect that. And I know Susan's got a big job ahead of her and I've respected that. But while there's plenty of political commentary about this, you can talk as much as you want. You can have the commentary here in Canberra. But you know what? When we go home and we go back to our electorates, they're not listening to you. They're looking at what we do. They're looking at what we've done for them and what we stand for them.
Yeah.
That's what matters, not what the political commentary is around here. And I think there's shock that suddenly there's a principled position that we're going to walk away from pay and privilege and title because we stand for something. I would have thought that's what our democratic system's about. And, I hope that we're able to get back together, and there's plenty of gratuitous advice flowing around, but the gratuitous advice I listen to are the people that I go and eyeball when I go back to my electorate, and I look them in the eye and say, I've stood up for you. And I don't particularly give two hoots about the political commentary, because all I care about is what those people that vote for me think about me, my party, and what we're prepared to do for them.
Well, what are your constituents going to do with your principles when you won't be in a position of power if the coalition doesn't get back together? You can have all the principles that you like, David, and these 4 policy areas, but if you don't at least negotiate with the Liberals, you can never deliver on them. Isn't that the harsh reality?
Well, the harsh reality is this. We can't govern without the Liberal Party, but the Liberal Party can't govern without us. You can do the math any way you like, and you can call us all the names you like, but that's a simple principle. They can't govern without us, and we can't govern without them.
Yeah.
We don't ask for a lot, but what we do ask, we mean it, because it changes the lives of the people that we represent. That's what I'm sent here to do. So that is the brutal game of arithmetic. As much as commentators want to cut and dice and slice it and talk it any way around, that is the brutal game of arithmetic. Now, we've been mature. We've been constructive, and we got to a position in the last parliament that meant so much to people in regional Australia, the people that we represent. And I wouldn't be doing my job, and I wouldn't be able to put my head on a pillow at night, going to sleep, knowing that I haven't done everything that I promised those people that I would do. Now, call me crazy, call me stupid. They can call the names they want. But, I want to be able to go back and live with these people. I live in the communities they live in, and I want to be able to look them in the eye and say, I've done my job for you. And you judge me, not commentators, not people sitting on the sideline that haven't been in politics for 30 years, but people that understand that they want outcomes and they expect me to deliver it. And I'll deliver it.
But
and
how
I'll do
can
it
you
any
deliver
way
it?
I have to.
But that's the whole point. I wouldn't call you crazy or stupid. I do agree that you're principled, but people can't wrap themselves in those principles if you can't deliver on them and be part of a party of government, David. And that is the simple rules of arithmetic here, isn't it? I mean, the Liberal Party, as you say, are going through a bit of an identity crisis. They're going to go through this journey. But you've been pretty quick. Less than 3 weeks after this election, you agreed that you both need each other to be parties of government. It doesn't even seem like you've analysed these results. You seem to think the threats are on the right from One Nation in your seats. But what about these teal-like country independents that keep on threatening Nationals in their seats and then still pushing ahead with nuclear? I mean, what is your nuclear policy this morning? Has it changed? Will you still build those 6 or 7 nuclear reactors? So
let me go back to what I just said. We can affect change because the Liberals can't govern without us. So this is just leverage. So this is leverage. Well, you are splitting the coalition because you know at the next election, even if they do win enough seats to get in within striking distance, they'll have to negotiate with you, and that's how you want to play things. No, this is about making it clear that there is principles that we aren't prepared to compromise on and trade away. There are things that come through and had come through the joint party room and came through a shadow cabinet that we had to hold our nose and support, and that's how it works. But you can't have an arbitrary decision where it's all gone and we have to start from scratch. So it is a principled position. It is about saying we are prepared to compromise on many things, but there are certain things that are important to us that we can't walk away from. I don't think that is what the people that elected us expect us to do. Is it just to take the politically expedient option out for them to miss out so that we can have commentators sitting here commentating different things? I didn't come to this place for that. I came to this place to get results, and I got results by being able to stand my ground and to say what's important to me, but to compromise where I need to. And I've shown that over the last 9 years I've been here and the last 3 years as leader. Nothing's changed in terms of that principle, and it'll continue because I can get those things done. But there is an understanding from both sides that we need one another. But there has to be boundaries. And I'm not asking for a lot, to be candid with you. And with respect to your other question about nuclear, we're pragmatic. We don't think that. I mean, we didn't sell it properly, and you and I had this debate quite vigorously about 3 weeks ago about that he was allowed to perpetrate a $600 billion lie when Frontier Economics, who both Labor and the Coalition used, said that it was $330 billion, $263 billion cheaper than their all renewables approach. We've got to look at and be honest. I think nuclear wasn't sold well because we let the costs get away from us. I think we've got to be sensible and pragmatic, and I've said that but we're talking about a technology agnostic approach that includes nuclear in their energy mix. It's about making sure that we're honest about what happened in that election. That was about, they made Peter Dutton unelectable by character assassination as well, and they couldn't put the one next to us, and they held their nose and voted for Anthony Albanese. And so we got to be honest that working from home was a big part of that. And we've got to face up to that. You've got to be honest. You've got to be brutally honest. But, you know, whatever people think and want to commentate, the Nats are going to stay true to it. We want to get back together. The door will be open. But ultimately, you know, at some point, you've got to stand for something. And that's what the Nationals are standing. We'll compromise where we have to and we can. But on these things, my mob made it clear this is a decision of the collective of our room, and I'm proud of our room. For having that courage. Many of them will lose pay, lose title, but it was more important to them that we stood for something, and whatever commentators want to commentate, good luck to them. So
just to be clear, on those 4 principles that you set out yesterday, there is zero negotiation on tinkering even around the details within those 4 principles. Is that correct?
No, we'll be pragmatic. We'll look at whatever's brought to us, but I couldn't get a guarantee from what Susan Ley provided to me in the time that she wanted to be able to announce a shadow cabinet and sign a coalition agreement. This wasn't our rush. This was predicated by the term set down to us that we couldn't get back past first base, which was getting comfort around those 4 key policy areas. Now, if they get to that, we're happy to sit down and to be sensible. And we left that, Susan and I left that discussion yesterday with that. Mature in terms of the way that we could work together and lead together with maturity and common sense.
For example, would it be acceptable to you if a coalition was to get back together that the nuclear policy, the baseline, would be that you together as 2 parties, a coalition, support lifting the moratorium on nuclear and perhaps just let the market decide without any commitment to use taxpayer funds to build them and make them state-owned? Would that be acceptable to your party room?
Yeah, and I think we've been quite clear about that, about how we do that. I think we need to limit the geographical area because I don't think we want to open ourselves up to a scare campaign that we're going to have one at Noosa Heads or because as I just said, they've been very effective in scare campaigns. Anthony Albanese's been a master of it, and all power to him. But ultimately, fundamentals are going to carry out. But I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritty of policy details on your show. I think it's important that I respect the process between Susan and I, and we've built a very strong bond between that, despite the toughness of this. That I've got to say, I've been impressed with the way that Susan's been able to handle this, and that we've been maturely working through this in a respectful way, understanding the disappointment. And this isn't a decision made in anger or in spite. It's one that's done with disappointment and sadness. But that's a good basis of which to show some leadership and at some point hopefully work from. Okay, what about net zero? I mean, doesn't most of your party room want to drop that now? It's going to make it pretty difficult for the Liberals to win back those seats in the city. Well, I think that's an assumption that would be bold in its assessment. I think, obviously, we'll have discussion. We had about 2 or 3 discussions in the last parliament about net zero, and our party room didn't get there. But David, I mean, is part of this you're looking over your shoulder at Matt Canavan here? No. I mean, commentary down here can commentate as much as they want. I mean, quite frankly, I'm comfortable in my own skin. You know what? Since I've led to make the tough decisions about the voice when no one else would. I made the tough call on nuclear energy to get that on the coalition agenda. Made the tough call to make sure that we got divestiture of supermarkets on the agenda. I made the tough call with my party room because I haven't led as an individual. I was led a collective, and what I want to do is leave a legacy, and whatever happens to me and my time will come. I'm cool with that. I just want to look back and say that I had the courage of my conviction to lead a team that empowered them to have their conviction put forward. And that's the great honour that I've been given to lead my great party. And forever, how long that's bestowed on me, I'm comfortable with. But I don't want to look back with regrets. And I think if you start looking at yourself and your own position, you forget about the tough decisions that need to be made, and you're not the leader you should be.
Fair enough. Do you think the reality might sink in when Parliament resumes and, you have to make the Federation Chamber relevant again?
No, and again, I don't think the commentariat get this. They think this is all about the pomp and ceremony and where you sit and how much you get paid and what your title is.
I don't think myself as the commentariat, but I've been around politics for almost 2 decades.
I just heard Andrew Clennell. I just heard Andrew Clennell give commentary about, it's going to look pretty silly when we're sitting in the back of the Parliament. You know what is the greatest honour? I'm an uneducated bloke from Western Queensland. I sit in that chamber every day. I've been given the honour there, and I touch that leather and I think how lucky I am to be there. I don't care where I sit there. Couldn't care less, so long as I'm there and I'm making a difference for the people I elect. So whatever they want to talk about, we're thinking it through a different prism than what many of your commentators are talking about. Is
this just a game of chicken?
No, this is a matter of principle.
This is leverage.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
No. Okay. I think you've got to be clear. I'd rather be upfront with people, look them in the eye and tell them what we want.
I know, but I know you want to deliver too. I know that you'll get tired of, having this principled stance and promising on things that you can't deliver without them. That's what it comes down to, doesn't it, David?
When I get tired, I'll get out of the road because I'm not doing my job. I'm holding up a position. I'm holding up somebody that has the fire. If I don't have that fire, I'll intrinsically know that. But I'm not over the hill yet. And I don't intend to go until I've delivered.
You've certainly got the fire, David. I look forward to talking to you again. Thanks so much for your time, as always, this morning.
Thanks, Laura.